This episode felt like a mashup of The Rookie and Con Air, with a splash of fugitive-style chaos thrown in for good measure. It was an entertaining hour overall, bringing back the ever-irritating Oscar just long enough for him to slip away again, showcasing how tough Nyla and Angela can be when pushed to the edge and, almost as an afterthought, introducing Tim's mother into the mix. While it was genuinely exciting to see Celia Ward step into the role of Tim's mom Joy, the way her character was introduced felt somewhat underwhelming. There was potential for something deeply emotional and layered, but instead her arrival felt a bit rushed and underdeveloped. That said, the episode hints that we haven't seen the last of her, which is encouraging. There's clearly more story to mine there. It made sense narratively that Jenny would redirect their mother to stay with Tim. Jenny typically hosts Joy, but she's going through her own issues and likely didn't want to manage her mother's emotional reactions to her current life circumstances. Passing that responsibility to Tim felt logical, especially given how surface-level his relationship with Joy appears to be. And surface-level might actually be too generous a description. The episode attempts to unpack why Tim and Joy's relationship functions the way it does, but most of that emotional groundwork isn't paid off until the final minutes. I found myself wishing that storyline had taken up more of the hour, because it's far more compelling than some of the other plot threads we were given. The most frustrating revelation? Joy had absolutely no idea Lucy even existed. Not just that she didn't know Lucy was living with Tim, she didn't know Lucy was part of his life at all. That's staggering. Lucy's reaction made perfect sense. She was shaken and hurt, and it lingered with her throughout the day. She even reached out to the Shop Talk Sisterhood to get perspective from Angela and the others, trying to determine whether her feelings were valid. Was she overreacting? Or was this genuinely concerning? Naturally, everyone had a slightly different take. The show frames Tim's emotional distance from his mother as a learned survival mechanism. From a young age, he adopted a protective role within the family, especially in relation to his abusive father. Both he and Jenny seem to believe that shielding Joy from distress is necessary, that she can't handle too much emotional turbulence. Jenny even describes Tim's boundaries with their mom in vivid terms, like a barbed wire fence in front of landmines in front of a moat. It's clear the siblings walk on eggshells around her. Since Jenny's divorce, Joy appears more upset about it than Jenny herself, reinforcing the idea that she internalizes her children's struggles intensely. To a degree that's understandable. But it raises an uncomfortable question. What kind of relationship can exist if you can't even share good news with your mother? Tim didn't tell her about Lucy. He didn't confide in her about Isabel, his ex-wife, or her addiction struggles. Considering he speaks to Joy every other weekend, it's baffling how he's managed to keep his life so compartmentalized. What do they even talk about? Because it's not just that he avoided discussing painful topics. He omitted joyful ones too. If your mother doesn't know your partner exists, if she has no awareness of your co-workers or the people who shape your daily life, what kind of connection remains? The episode presents this as a trauma response, and after hearing Joy's side of the story, it becomes more complicated. She tells Lucy that even as a child, Tim placed himself between his father and the rest of the family, absorbing the brunt of the abuse to protect his mother and sister. In some instances she admits she let him do it. What's clear though, is that the family dynamic shifted. Tim became the protector. Joy allowed it. That reversal of roles shaped the man he became, someone who shields others by withholding himself. I just wish the show had more clearly connected this trauma to the Lucy revelation. By the end of the episode, Tim and Lucy never fully address her hurt in a way that validates it. It almost feels as though her pain is sidelined because Tim's childhood trauma is deemed more significant. Still, I appreciated the scene between Joy and Lucy. There's real potential in that dynamic. Joy seems to want to know her son better, and Lucy gently encourages her to communicate that desire directly to him. It would have been powerful to actually see the ensuing conversation between Tim and his mother, rather than having it occur off-screen. Hopefully this storyline continues. More than anything, I'm intrigued by the possibility of seeing Tim's three most important women, Joy, Lucy, and Jenny, interacting together. Add Angela into the mix and you've got something even richer. As for Oscar's return, I expected more. Given the build-up, it felt like he popped in just long enough to escape again and taunt Nolan. The recurring villain pattern on this show has grown tiresome. Whether it's Oscar or Monica, the cycle repeats. Brief chaos, dramatic escape, smug phone call. Is starting to feel formulaic. The prison transport storyline was predictable from the jump. The moment they boarded that aircraft, it was obvious something would go wrong. And casting Brian Letcher as a U.S. Marshal practically telegraphed corruption. Anyone who's seen him play Tom in Scandal knows he excels at portraying morally compromised characters. Still, the breakout created entertaining moments. The chaotic live-streaming inmate, who hijacked an influencer's phone and broadcast herself the entire time, was absurdly funny. Her over-the-top personality made her scenes surprisingly enjoyable, even when she wandered into uncomfortable territory like a playground confrontation. Lucy and Selena luring her in with the promise of ice cream was both ridiculous and effective. And the ongoing joke about everything and everyone being drawn to Selena remains amusing. The most intense confrontation, however, belonged to Harper and Lopez. Their escaped prisoner was terrifying, aggressive, physically overpowering, and violent. Watching him slam their heads against the glass was unsettling. Harper, in particular, needed that win. She's still grappling with the fallout from her threats toward Glasser. While she hasn't been demoted, being reassigned to patrol feels like a significant setback. It's interesting to see her facing consequences when other characters have skated by for equally questionable actions. Thankfully, her bond with Wesley and Lopez remains intact. There's no resentment, just mutual understanding. Harper acknowledges her mistake, and Wesley regrets having to pursue action. Their support system remains solid. The looming threat from Everett, who warned Bradford that refusing a $10 million bribe would come back to haunt him, adds another layer of tension. The ominous tone suggests future trouble. Will we once again see a criminal fixation storyline? Possibly. It feels like familiar territory. In the end, this episode delivered entertainment and flashes of emotional depth, but it left me wanting more exploration of Tim's family dynamic, more meaningful villain arcs, and more payoff for the emotional beats it introduced. Still, that's the nature of the show. The Rookie will always blend drama, action, and a bit of absurdity. Rookie fans, your move.